You said.
Hi, Joy.
You said he has to beat Notre Dame.
Yeah. Listen, when you're in this business, sometimes you're going to take some lumps, and we're taking lumps today.
I'm taking lumps.
100%. I'm right there with you.
It was ugly.
It was ugly, and the frustrating part for those of us who have been watching his teams for a long time is that they didn't have an identity on offense. Normally, that's one thing that you would hang your hat on, is that they had an identity on offense, and generally it was surrounding quality offensive line play. And maybe not even just quality offensive line, but dominant offensive line play, in particular in the run game. You gave the stat a little bit earlier in your where you were wrong. 1.76 and 1.8 yards per carry. That's terrible. Terrible. In fact, only one other Power 5 school averaged less yards per carry last week.
Oh, my God.
Do you know who it was?
Who?
Louisville against Alabama. That's not the company that you can keep if you're Michigan. It's just not.
Can I give some credit, though? Now, again.
Notre Dame was good.
Okay, I'm going to acknowledge that I was wrong on Harbaugh. But let me just say this. Nobody in the country is saying this. Alabama eye test? Brian Kelly's working there. They got NFL players. They just put 2 top 10 NFL players. When they had Bob Davie, when they had Willingham, when they had Charlie, the first thing I noticed was they didn't pass the eyeball test, and they didn't have top 10 players in the draft. I'm watching them against Michigan. I'm like, oh, Notre Dame's got better players than Michigan.
Yeah, a couple of years with Charlie, like when Brady was a quarterback in 05 and maybe 06 or 04, right in there, that era, they had some dudes, right? They had some guys. But I think this is probably the best they've been since that time when they were playing in BCS games back in that era. Now, so I'll agree with you on that. I think Notre Dame's doing a heck of a job, and they could have a great season, you know. And listen, for as much as we're taking our lumps, and yeah, Michigan looked bad. I would still maintain that the sky is not falling.
No, not falling.
Right? He's 28-12 at Michigan. Brady Hoke was 31-20. Right? I mean, against their rivals, Rich Rodriguez lost to the rivals by an average of about 16 points, Brady Hoke by about 12 points. Harbaugh's right under 9. So it's getting better. The frustration is that people want it to be great. And right now it's not.
No.
And
they can't
9-9 in the last 18 is not going to cut it.
They can't compete against Clemson, Georgia, Oklahoma,
not
Alabama.
Right
no way. Oklahoma would run them out of a building right now.
More specifically, Ohio State.
Ohio State would run them out of a building.
This week, yes. Now, again, we'll see how good Notre Dame is. They might end up being 11-1, 12-0, and be right in the playoff consideration. I mean, with what they showed this last week, in particular on the defensive side. It'll be interesting to see.
Okay, Nick Saban.
Ha!
I mean,
I think it was Joy and I was in on that. We were all over.
So I find Saban kind of
funny. You thought he was funny?
Funny, jokey. Not Chris Rock funny. I mean, funny.
Funny like, haha, like I amuse you?
Like he's kind of got a wink. Like as he's exploding on these rants every week. He came driving to the press conference knowing he was going to.
Sure.
And then I watched him this week, and I'm like, Nick, here's the problem. What do you want us to ask about your right guard? You have star quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's really 3 things that I want to say about this in particular. One is the disappointing part is he's smarter than that. Right? You said, hey, I know exactly the question I'm going to get when I walk into my house after this. We all do. He knows exactly what's going to happen, and he created that, right? That's number 2. He created this situation by not naming a starter, so that's what we're all going to ask about. Don't tell us that we can't ask about the quarterback position. If this was the left tackle and you hadn't named a starter, no one would care, and no one would ask you. But it's your job as a coach to answer about the most important position on the field. Now, he's smarter than that. He should give a better answer. And then here's the worst part. He comes out and talks about my team. I was just frustrated with the way they played, and there were some undisciplined things at the end of the game. I'm like, whoa. You were the most undisciplined. That was the equivalent of drawing an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after the game. You're doing exactly what you hate your players doing.
This is why Bob Knight, I thought, was a hypocrite. Bob would always talk about emotional control and play under control. It's like Bob was never under control.
Right.
Snapping at media, snapping at refs, snapping at players. So, Nick Saban has told his agent, Jimmy Sexton, get me out of this sport if I get old, cranky, and outdated. And one of the first times I'm like, Nick, come on.
That's close.
You don't want to be old, crabby guy. Like, the reason you get young players is you're kind of fun sometimes.
Can I expand real quickly on the quarterback position at Alabama? And I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. This is a call to the coaching staff at Alabama and even Jalen Hurts himself. Do not play over 4 games. You're going to graduate in December, likely. You only had 15 credits left, which means you can be a graduate transfer and play for 2 more years as long as you redshirt this season. 2 is the starter. He's better than you. You can further your career and get 2 more years out of this career somewhere else. You're going to need to go somewhere else. But it only works if you play less than 4 games because you can play less than 4 games, still get a redshirt this year after the. I think Jalen's either got to leave the team midseason or Nick Saban's got to sit down and say, I will only play you if I have to. Mop-up duty, if I was Jalen Hurts, I would say, no, thank you. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Because you're a college teammate.
No.
You sign the letter, you got to play.
I disagree. And this is why I applauded Urban Meyer over the spring when he had a quarterback battle. And rather than dragging it into the fall, he said, no, Dwayne Haskins is my starter. Why'd you name him right now? Because Joe Burrow graduated. So he can go now and play a year. See, that was very respectful, and it was the right thing to do for the kid. Joe Burrow goes to LSU. He's the opening day starter, and they have a big win.
Okay.
You got to do right by the kids sometimes. They don't get paid. You might as well do right by them eligibility-wise.
Boy, jeez, they're grown-ups. Okay, SEC.
In a one-sided contract.
Well, I never went to college to get rich. I went to college for an opportunity to get rich.
Okay.
I got a lot of stuff in college.
A lot of people getting rich on the back of these kids.
Oh, Lord.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, too. I'm just saying I went to college and starved for 4 years.
Well, you weren't talented enough like these kids.
Oh, you didn't hear my broadcasting. I was great. I was this good at 12.
I disagree totally.
Okay, so the SEC comes out this weekend.
They were good.
They just punched people in the forehead.
They were so good.
Oh, they just crushed everybody. Okay, let's be honest. I think the Big Ten's pretty good. The SEC's way better than everybody.
Yeah, I agree. And in particular, the SEC West. The SEC West is now the best division in football after what they did in Week 1. 2 top 10 wins. You were talking about a little bit earlier. 13-1 as a conference. 4-1 against Power 5 opponents. The only egg was Tennessee. Way to go, Tennessee. Way to join the party.
Yeah, by the way, Brown's owner is the biggest booster at Tennessee.
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah, but no, I mean, listen, we have to be honest.
Fans hate us.
I know listen, everybody wants to hate on the SEC, but in that part of the country, it's the biggest thing in the world. Church and college football.
Yeah.
And that's what they're good at, and that's what they love, and they are empowered by it, and they love it, and they give money to it, and they're committed to it. And the South right now has regained its title. Big Ten crept up with good coaching hires.
They did.
SEC looks better than everybody. By the way, Washington, Auburn. Can I just say this?
Go ahead.
Of all the teams that lost this weekend, Michigan loses, Washington loses, Penn State. Can I just say this? Washington looked pretty good.
Yeah, Washington was very good. In fact, I would make the argument that they should have won. They kind of snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory. They were inside the 10 3 times and only got 3 points in all 3 of those drives. Poor play calling, ran an option play with Jake Browning. They fumbled that. Their defense was spectacular. Washington's going to be in the mix. What's hard now is that they're going to be rooting for Auburn to win the SEC West. I don't know if Auburn's capable of doing that, especially with Alabama in that division.
They're not. But Auburn's really good. I thought Washington, let's not go crazy on this, is outside of Bama and Clemson, because the ACC's garbage, there's a bunch of stuff in the air right now. Like this weekend, there's like big games.
Can I throw one more team in that mix?
What?
Oklahoma.
Oh, Lord.
Dude.
I texted Lane Kiffin yesterday. He's like, oh, Lord, they're good.
Yeah. Same with me, actually. I was texting with Lane after the game.
You were too?
Well, yeah.
He returns mine first.
Okay, that's fine. The bottom line is FAU was an 11-win conference champion last year that was a top 10 scoring offense, had a 1,900-yard rusher, has an All-American caliber linebacker, and Oklahoma's starters were out of the game in the middle of the second quarter. This was not Kelly Bryant for Clemson being in the game late in the third against Furman. They blew FAU out. I'm telling you, read my lips. Oklahoma is better this year than last.
Well, they got rid of that quarterback who's grabbing his stuff. You quarterback, grab your stuff. I'm out on that. That new quarterback is special.
Hey, you got to believe me because I got a book.
Okay, I got to take a break.
He was out of there.
I'm very busy right now. I got Greg Jennings. I got a lot of stuff.
Don't bring on my book, Joel.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.